television highlights of the news of yesteryear. Here's New York State Senator James Walker in 1925, Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City. Votes are in, so Jimmy goes out of town to rest for job ahead. For he's beaten his Republican rival by more than 2-1 and is mayor-elect of largest city in the world. In middle of America's decade of delirium, the gay life, the easy dollar, prohibition, and Tin Pan Alley jazz, Walker returns to Manhattan to become 100th mayor of the town. Typical of the times, one of Mayor Walker's first official acts is opening of baseball season at New York's Polo Grounds. With John McGraw at helm, Giants finish season in 5th place, don't win pennant for 8 years. And then, though there's no connection, the Walker era is over. But during his reign, he's good-time executive and one of the most popular figures in America. Here, sports-minded Jimmy received the thoroughbred Cedar King from citizens satisfied with Walker's way of doing things. As Commander Richard E. Byrd prepares for his Antarctic expedition in 1928, Mayor Walker is spokesman for Fur Union, which made this cold-weather garb for Byrd's adventurers. In Washington, 8th of March, 1928, Jimmy has an appointment with Calvin Coolidge and makes headlines by keeping the president waiting 40 minutes. All America did was laugh, for these were happy times, the giddy days of flappers, gun malls, tin lizzies, and bathtub gin, flagpole sitters, and Amy McPherson, Barney Google, Lindbergh, and Wall Street's big bull market. Born in Greenwich Village, Walker is hometown boy who made good on every boulevard and back street bounded by the sidewalks of New York. Easily the most glamorous political figure of his time, Tammany's fair-haired boy has June date with Lillian Andress, Miss America of 1929. But it's all just official business, of course. In October of the same year, he leads official welcome for Mr. Britain, Prime Minister of England, Ramsay MacDonald. Running for re-election, he opposes Republican candidate Fiorello LaGuardia and beats him badly. As Walker sits down at his desk for another 4-year term in City Hall, the nation is voting Herbert Hoover into the White House. In just a few days, only a few blocks away, Wall Street's great god of speculation tumbles from his tower. Lives and fortunes are lost, panic follows, and depression is just around the corner. And under gathering clouds of personal defeat, he's still light-hearted, carefree, amiable Jimmy Walker of earlier days. Here, by request, he contributes one of his famous berets for auction in 1931 campaign against cancer. In Albany, now Governor Franklin Roosevelt is making changes. Jimmy cheerfully flies to California on a hurried mission.
You are welcome to California this time, not to the city of San Francisco, but to California. Will you all join with me in that welcome to Jimmy Walker, Mayor of New York?
You know, the only difficulty about it is the mayor of New York has to come to California to get a hand.
Then 1932 and explosive legal findings of Samuel Seabury bring an end to public life and service of Jimmy Walker. In Cannes, France, April 19th, 1933, shorn of his role as Playboy mayor, he marries actress Betty Compton and lives in exile. Playboy still, but now only in private life. Then, after 3 years abroad, Jimmy comes back to the place of his birth, scene of his triumphs and defeat. And for Jimmy Walker, the sight of Manhattan Towers is indeed a thrill.
That skyline may look great to visitors, but to me it looks glorious.
And when in 1946 he died, he rode once more the streets of his hometown. But the faces he made bright with laughter now were sad. For New York City's Jimmy Walker has passed into memory.
In broadcasting's baby days, starring Mills Group violins, that mechanical monstrosity in foreground, here are rare films of early studio program. It's middle 1920s, and radio's just outgrown its crystal set era, as this child demonstrates to America's growing radio audience how easy it is to get music from this machine-age string section. If you don't believe this is a long time ago, look at that microphone. Here group sings while robot fiddles play. And here's Mrs. Theodore Dumoulin listening in her Winnetka home, smiling from earphone to earphone, too.
Here's Ohio Congressman Nicholas Longworth in early 1920s when he was Majority Leader and Speaker of the House. And here's famed girl he married, President Teddy Roosevelt's daughter, Alice, whom he wed in 1906. Here, Mr. Speaker lets his wife do the talking.
In her Washington office in mid-1920s is Mabel Walker Willebrand, Assistant U.S. Attorney General from 1921 till her resignation in 1929. Brilliant West Coast lawyer, she handled thousands of government cases, and most of them were violations of Prohibition law.
Teachers' pet projects. Here in 1920s are Yasha Heifetz on left and Ephraim Zimbalist. Even in younger days, they are world famous as concert virtuosos. Both studied in St. Petersburg, Russia, under Leopold Auer. Wonder if teacher also taught them this. It's June 5th, 1921, and Pueblo, Colorado is nearly pulverized by impartial floodwaters of raging Arkansas River. Sudden and heavy deluge in uplands 15 miles west of town swells river and sends giant wall of water through Pueblo like a plow. Receding water leaves sea of mud and wreckage in its wake. Almost every building, every bridge, every type of dwelling and mode of transportation and communication is smashed beyond repair. At one time, Pueblo was under 18 feet of swiftly moving waters. Adding to horror, fire breaks out in lumberyard, gas and oil tanks explode, and even flood waters burn. Still later, more rain in hill lands bursts mountain dams, reflooding already stricken town. Property damage runs high and toll of lives is tragic. Scores are missing, and even early count in Pueblo proved 200 persons dead.
It's 13th of April, 1923, and on 180th birthday of Thomas Jefferson, nation he once so nobly served acquires his Monticello home near Charlottesville, Virginia. Owner till today is Congressman Jefferson M. Levy, very happy indeed that Monticello will now become a national shrine. Money for purchase is raised by Thomas Jefferson Memorial Associations. Goal was $1 million, and they got it easily. After 9 months of fundraising, Monticello belongs to America.
Here's immortal member of our once great fleet of lighter-than-air craft. And here in Bermuda's Hamilton Harbor, ship Patoka offers mooring. It's April 22nd, 1925, as dirigible Los Angeles makes more aviation history. For this, his first time airship has been moored at sea. Here on flight from Lakehurst, New Jersey, dirigible took off at 6 this morning. We'll refuel at harbor mooring and be home by 9 tonight.
Best dress Well-Dressed Woman on Broadway. Actress Anne Andrews shows what the well-dressed woman wears on an afternoon in the 1920s. For an evening at the theater and after hours at her favorite speakeasy, she wears this gown with flowing skirt and square-cut back. This gown of gold has an overdress of net and embroidery. Can you fancy yourself ever wearing anything so fancy? Well, you probably did. Showgirl looking like Snowman, Miss Andrews wears ermine cape lined with apricot velvet. And it's just peachy.
Golfdom's Mother's Day. Mrs. G. Henry Stetson has support of gallery at Marion, Pennsylvania Golf Links, October 2nd, 1926, as she tees off in finals of Women's National Golf Tourney. Her opponent is Mrs. W.D. Goss, and on 35th green, two golfing mothers bring match to a close. 3 up and 1 to go. Winner is Mrs. Stetson, shown here with her 2 daughters. Bringing up children doesn't deter Mother Stetson from bringing home the bacon, too. It's 1927, Chicago Elgin race time, and they're off in battle of bike riders in test against time and slippery roads. It's annual pump of pedal pushers from Elgin, Illinois to Chicago. And believe me, the pace is fast. And not all starters finish either. See what I mean? Motorcycle paces leaders on soaking wet concrete, and first across finish line of 38-mile dash, here comes the winner. And the crowd loves winners. So Charles Barrett gives champion Jimmy Morton a loving cup.